Greetings, travelers. I'm Josh.
And I'm Kai.
And we're the Genshin
Genshin
guys. Welcome all. This podcast is for fans of Genshin Impact, the mobile game made by Hoyoverse, formerly known as MiHoYo. Here we talk about our opinions, experiences, and dreams about Genshin Impact. If you like our show, don't forget to subscribe on Apple Music, Spotify, wherever you are listening. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate your support. So, Kahi, let's get right to it. How was your week in Genshin been this week?
I had an unexpected pull when I was trying to go for my Heizou. I actually pulled the other Catalyst user, Klee. So now I have to level 2 characters before Sumeru comes out. Yay. That's gonna be great.
Yay! Klee can burn everything. Woo! In Sumeru,
I actually need
yay!
Pyro. That's great. Yes.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, Klee's super fun actually. But
It actually is, yeah. I'm surprised.
yeah, so for me, I've just been trying to catch up on my missions that I haven't finished. So I've the couple side quests, but I was mainly finishing the Yelan story quest, and I just finished the newly released Kazoha story quest. Both really great insight on the characters, and I just really like seeing these 5-star quests because they all have full voice acting, so that's always fun. Um, Definitely enjoy that. That's what I've been doing. Just working on that, working around that, and farming some materials for some characters. Let's get started right away with today's topics. First is any Genshin news. We have some Genshin news to share with you. Second topic of the day is Heizou Impressions, the new 4-star Catalyst user. We'll be talking a little bit about him and how we've been using him or how we feel about him for the first week. And the Harbinger trailer that dropped last week. Phenomenal trailer, awesome music, really great voice acting, a lot of cool new characters that we've never seen before. Kahi is going to lead us through a discussion about first impressions with these characters, what we know about them, and just some speculation about what these characters might be like for us in the future. So we'll get to that. That's going to be the bulk of our discussion today. So if you're interested, strap on in, and we're going to get started. So first is Genshin news. In today's Genshin news topics, we have Kujo Sara and Hutao's birthdays were this past week. July 14th for Kujo Sara.
Happy birthday.
And July 15th for Hutao. Yep, happy birthday indeed. They also drip marketed to us. They didn't really explain anything, say anything besides this trailer that was there for the Harbingers at the very end. They showed Tainari and Kole, the two new Dendro archers, the 4-star and 5-star. Kole being the 4-star, Tainari being the 5-star, supposedly. And Dori, new Electro, supposedly 4-star, not sure yet, but great sword user, right? Very, very interested to see more on these characters officially as they are announced. There is some information for those that are interested with leaks. If you're interested in leaks, go ahead and look out there. If you want to watch our other episode from the other week where we covered leaks, you can check that out as well. But Dory, Kole, and Tainari were officially announced. 2.8 was also finally released. The Summer Odyssey event has started. You can now go visit the Golden Apple Archipelago once again with a new twist and a new story premise, which is very, very interesting. Explores the backstory of some of these characters, namely Kazoha, Xinyan, Mona, and Fischl. So if you're interested, definitely don't miss out on this event. I don't know if it's going to be permanent. We don't know how long this is. The Golden Apple Archipelago is going to stay this time. Last time it was taken away after the event. So I would say get your time in now with the area, the new area. So yeah, so those are the main news topics. The last thing I want to mention is that there is a Kazoha and Klee fan art contest running until August 4th if you are interested in that. So if you are an artist, if you really like Kazoha and Klee, if you really like Kazoha and Klee and you're not an artist, then you have just over a month to learn to be an artist and then submit something. So if you are interested in that, definitely don't forget to do that. So I think that's all of our Genshin news for today. So let's go ahead and slide on into our first topic of the day, which is Heizou, right? The new 4-star Catalyst. NMO user, he does not use magic as much as he uses martial arts. Kahi, what are your thoughts? How have you been using him this week? What have you been doing?
So I knew for a fact that when you have abilities like his skill as well as his elemental burst, that everyone's gonna try and make like one shot builds, one punch man builds. And I saw a few of them, and I'm like, yep, that's expected. That's but it's definitely more powerful than a 4-star. I think should be because that is way too much single instance of damage. But it's so much so where I kind of want to build my character like that, anyways. So it's good that the character can get up there because you see like all people with food buffs and like their potion buffs, knowing that okay, this is the potential top of the line effect. You want to go for that? Maybe, yeah. So I'm probably gonna build my character like one of those builds, but for now, I'm keeping Hazel kind of on the back burner because I accidentally got Klee while I was trying to roll for Hazel. So I'm like, okay, wait, hold up. If I'm preparing for Sumeru, I need Pyro anyways, and I I don't know something about Yanfei just doesn't feel right, and just Klee is just more fun. So I'm focusing on leveling up Klee right now. So
Wait, you don't have a
Klee
pyro?
was like, I do. I have Yanfei, I have Hu Tao, I have Diluc, but the thing is, like ranged is kind of what I need right now because everyone else is melee. I have melee solutions for everything, but if I need like a pyro user, of all the pyro users, I'm trying to wean myself off of Diluc. So if Klee's in the picture now, she's a 5-star, she's fun. I'm gonna focus on Klee for a little bit. But as far as like Hazel, I I definitely want to use Hazel in a team of older characters that I haven't been using a lot. So I've seen Mona use a lot, which is perfect because I can lock them in place. They get debuffed, and then I can use Hazel to just do like a bigger one shot. But like Hazel and Klee are currently now on the same team. I have for them. So it's Hazel, Klee, Mona, and Noelle just because I need like a shield and a healer just in case. So that's going to be my team for now. I'm probably going to play around a little bit more. But it's weird that I just I was not expecting to have Klee. I mean, I was rolling for her banner because I was like, yeah, I already have Kazoha. But then she was literally in my first 10 pool. So, well, unexpected, unexpected surprise. Now I got two characters I got to worry about. It's a good and a bad thing, but my focus is on like a lot of stuff right now in the game. It's just most of it is prep, and of course now the archipelago is back, so I got to do that. It's just, I have a lot on my plate.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about there, but yeah, definitely you just got a lot of stuff to try out now that you have Hazo and Klee. So, to see how, I mean, from the preview that we got of Sumeru, definitely you're gonna need a pyro, you're gonna need like one of those three elements that they showed,
Yep.
to be able to interact with just the environment by itself. So. Yeah, that'd be pretty interesting. Though my personal recommendation, though, or just something to keep in mind, is Klee's range is actually not that far. So, like not
I
as far as
noticed
Yanfei
that.
is any.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weak,
So it's kind of
especially for charged.
clunky. Yeah, it's kind of clunky. So like, just maybe if you get used to her a little bit, you might find a place to put her. But, um, if you're looking for range, still think Yanfei is pretty up there. And I mean, I use Yoimiya, so I have, that she's my
You don't
main,
have to
so
worry.
I don't have to worry about range
Yeah.
fire damage.
Yeah, I have
Um,
Mona too, so if I need to like extend a little bit, Mona, Klee, and Hazel, because I have all three Catalyst users, and then Noelle just to round it out.
Yeah. So for me, like first impression was like he's very cool, definitely. I definitely like the martial arts feel. For some reason, like I don't know if it was from the trailer or just in my head and how I thought it would work, but I thought his movements would be faster. Like I thought he would attack
I
faster.
thought
So
that
like I
too.
actually
Yep.
feel
Hmm.
like kind of slow when I'm attacking with him. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, like his movements are like pretty slow, like when he's attacking. So I don't know. As I get used to it, it's like I'm doing it right now. I'm just like pressing his like auto combo, and you know, definitely a little more used to it. But when I first picked him up, when I first put him on the field, and I was like, oh, it feels slower than I thought it would. So, but he's still cool. His punching thing is still cool. I didn't realize that when I thought I would have to charge up my elemental skill all the time. I didn't realize that he just builds the stacks while you're swirling things. So that's like really cool. And definitely makes the gameplay more smooth than I thought it was. But
In that sense,
yeah,
he's faster.
yeah, exactly. But I definitely am interested to level him and to find a team. I mean, he's an Anemo user, so it's probably pretty easy to fit him into most teams, especially if you just go with the straight up, Viridis and Venrir set and shred the damage. But I mean, shred the resistance. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to using him more. So, what about so Kahi? Have you heard anything about Heizou from the community? Like, what like you said that you've been seeing like one shot builds and stuff, but like, what do you think people are generally saying about Heizou right now?
Generally, I've seen everyone top remarks. I don't see anyone complaining about Hazel. I don't see anyone saying he's terrible. I don't see anyone saying he could be better. It's just unanimously of all the people that I'm seeing, they like him because he looks cool. His attacks are unique. He's a twist on the Catalyst user, being the melee type. Really strong damage, and it's a swirl character. So anyone who wants like more elemental damage or more elemental buffs, I mean, they get it.
Mm.
I think anyone, when you give them like a one-shot ability or like a really powerful single target, or maybe like just single instance of an attack, they're gonna like that. They're gonna be able to find a way to abuse that kind of like attack and overpower it. Just like when they came out with Raiden Shogun. I mean, her burst does like one big slash. Everyone wants to use that. Like, I mean, anything that you've heard?
I did see some stuff. I watched like a video earlier today about like some builds and stuff for him, mostly like around C0. So like not having any constellations. And yeah, I was like, wow, yeah, he's pretty strong for no constellations, right? Like a lot of people are testing him out with zero constellations. But he's a 4-star, so we'll eventually get more constellations for him. And I'm so stupid because I just looked at the constellations for the first time now, and I'm seeing the very first constellation. Do you know what it is?
I have no idea, but I'm gonna bet it's really strong.
Right, for 5 seconds after he takes the field, his normal attack speed is increased by 15%. So,
Oh
so
my
that
god,
that that's why
that's
he
the
feels
solution.
slow.
That's
That's
literally
that's
our solution.
probably well, probably like when we were watching the trailer, they probably switched into him with this constellation, and he was attacking super fast. So like
Oh
it's
yeah, he
so funny.
was.
I
He
saw
was
the
swapped out. Yeah.
Yeah, so I saw this and I was like, what the heck? He also automatically gets one stack. And you can only do this every 10 seconds, but that's like, in one rotation, that's perfect. So like damn. So yeah, I definitely need to get more constellations for him. I mean, eventually I will. I'm counting on it. I don't think I'm gonna go crazy on this banner since I already got Heizou, and I kind of want another Kazuha, but oh, and also more Tomas. So I might roll a couple times, but I'm not gonna like spend all my gems on this banner before it's over. Um, I'll just roll right now. Just roll one time right now and see what I get. Ready? And nothing.
I have a
It's
personal
a
rule.
Raven bow. Yes.
Oh my god. My rule is once I get a character that I'm aiming for, I'm gonna stop rolling. I have the character, I'm fine with it. I don't need more versions of the character. I don't need constellations. All I wanted was the character. I got it. I know when to stop. Not a lot of people have that self-control. I understand. That's my personal rule. It
Not a lot
works.
of people
I
need that
still have a
self-control
lot of
too.
money. They really do because they feel like, oh no, but I have the character. It's not good unless I have C4. I'm like, you have the character. Be happy,
I
please.
mean, like they don't need to restrain because they either
Uh,
have the resources, they have the money, they really like a character. So, like
it's their
I
right.
respect
Mhm.
as I know
Right.
you're not like 100% free to play, but you're mostly free to play. So
Mostly, yeah.
yeah, so I think what you spent money like once or something, twice.
Uh, I mean, I spent 30 just to get Cookie.
Hmm.
But just because I knew I wanted Cookie in a certain team, so I wanted to go after this character. But I'm like,
So
I'm
like
not gonna
you
drop
rolled like at the very
$100
end of her banner. Is that what happened?
at the beginning because I saved up anyways.
I see, I see. I mean, like you spent 30 like right away. You wanted to get her right away, or you were
No, I used up what I saved and then I spent 30.
okay, okay.
And I
Yeah.
just needed to get one. I'm fine having one because it adds the twist to the teams that I needed to. So I'm good.
That reminds me, by the way, like I was watching the streamer last night and she spent $150. Oh no, no, she not sorry, not $150. She rolled 150 times, and
Oh my God.
some of that was paid. Not all of it was paid, but
Of
but
course.
half of it was paid. And she didn't get a single Heizo, and that's all she
Oh
wanted.
my
She was
God.
going to make a YouTube
No.
video about Heizo.
No.
It was about to be Heizo comes home like YouTube video, but then he didn't, and she ended the stream. She's like, I can't. Like, oh my
Well,
god,
you have a better thumbnail.
yeah, oh my god, it's so funny. She's like, well, scrap this video idea. So yeah,
Hell
I
if it's a
mean,
video.
in any case, like, yeah, it's tougher with the 4 stars. There's no guaranteed, right? Like, there's no guarantee like there's for 5 stars that you will get 4 star you want. She got like 10 Tomas. Like, it's crazy. Like, oh yeah. But yeah, I love watching.
Unbelievable.
I mean, as terrible as the gacha system is, it's fun to celebrate with your friends to watch people roll for stuff like, gambling society.
Oh, gambling streams, of course. They
Yeah,
will always
but
have an audience of
it
at
is
least
what it
one.
is. I digress, but Heizo is really fun, and like, now that
Agreed.
I like I've been able to play as him, I'm definitely interested in seeing what kinds of teams he can be in. Speaking of community stuff, like I watched a video today, and I didn't think about it this way, but it's weird that Heizo is a melee character who like pushes his enemies away when he does his burst. I mean, when he does his skill. And his burst doesn't really exactly pull them back in. So like you have to
Kind of
spend stamina
does.
to like run up to your enemies. Like, well, I mean, like it won't pull them back in after you do the burst if it actually pushes the enemy away because like it's too far. Like you have to run back up to the enemy. His burst is pretty
Well,
close range, right?
well, doesn't the burst still kind of pull enemies in towards the middle of the cyclone just a
A
little bit,
little
not like
bit,
a
just
big
a
pull?
little bit. Yeah,
Okay,
just a
so it
little
does have a
bit.
bit of
But
like a pull. So
right. But one thing was that Heizo like will use his skill, especially at like level 4, and it'll like push the enemy super far. So if you want to attack them after that, you have to run up to them and punch them because you're close range. Um, so one solution to this that like one guy was suggesting in the Gotcha Gamer was suggesting in his video was making like him part of a freeze comp, and like that way like they're frozen and you can swirl them and they won't move when you punch them. So just an idea worth considering. I think I'm going to end up
I
doing
just
that
had an
as well.
idea.
What's
Oh my
that?
God, I just had an idea. You'll love this. Okay, you like Geo, right? You like the
Mm-hmm.
Geo constructs? Okay. Traveler's Burst summons like rocks in a circle,
Uh-huh.
right?
Huh.
If they go flying, push them into the rock because they get environmental damage. Because Jean does the same thing. You can like use her skill and push people into the wall and they get hit at the wall.
Mm.
So you could probably do that with Heizou.
Oh yeah, let's try it.
Yeah, or like Zhongli's like pillar. That'll be
That'd be so
interesting. I should
funny.
try that.
That'd be so funny, like pushing them up against the pillar. like,
Yeah,
like,
push
hey,
them
you
into the pillar.
punk! Boom, boom.
uh, I kind of want to
Uh,
try that now. I'll try that later. Oh, you can try it too if
yeah,
you want, because like I still gotta work on my Klee.
yeah. I mean, I'll definitely experiment with like the stuff you can
Mhm.
do. I really think it's cool how accessible he is as a 4 star character, and the fact that he's good at C0 and will only get better if you happen to get lucky and get more constellations for him. So. And just like, for full transparency, I'm not 100% free to. I'm not actually nowhere near free to play in this game, but
I don't think anyone
um,
is.
I'm, I'm not like, oh, well, there is people who like really pride themselves on being like full free to play or like being people who only
True,
buy the battle
true.
pass or whatever. But I
Hmm.
typically always buy the battle pass and the Welkins, the blessing, the one that
Same.
like you get a little bit every day. So I
Good deal.
basically, yeah, I basically have that all the time. And other than that, like I'll only spend money on like an actual roll or something if it's like if I know I'm gonna hit pity soon, like I know I'm gonna get it soon, or I'll spend money on like the costumes. Like I'll eventually buy Deluxe costume, but I don't know if I'm gonna buy it soon because I don't really use Deluxe right now. But I bought Jean's costume, so yeah, I'm really I do spend money. I do like to support the game, but I don't go overboard, or at least I try not to go overboard, right? Um,
Did you see
so
the jeans meme with Pantalone? Did you see that?
what's that? What do you mean?
The Pantalone and the jeans meme. Did you see that
No.
picture? Okay, so it was a picture of jeans with like a bunch of like Pantalone's head on her legs, and then you had a picture of Pantalone with a bunch of like pictures of Jean on his legs.
Wait,
So you
what?
had Jean
Why?
wearing pantalones.
Oh,
You had Jean wearing
pantalones. Oh
pantalones
my
and
gosh.
Pantalone wearing jeans.
Oh my gosh. This is terrible. This is why the internet exists for stuff
The
like this.
internet, so good.
All right, so yeah, I think that about covers like our Heizou things. Is there any last thing you want to say, or are we good to move on?
I think we're good. I think we got our first impressions down already.
All right, yeah, we'll be seeing more of Heizou in the builds in the team comps to come. It should be pretty fun. So, let's move on to the bulk of our podcast today, which is going to be talking about the Fatoui Harbingers. So, there is currently 11 of them, I believe, right? With Child being number 11. So, we know that we've known him for a long time, but we have finally gotten revealed the almost full cast of the Harbingers for the first time, seeing their forms for the first time, like what they look like, hearing their voices, in a really cool short video that they released. Where, and this is spoilers for Genshin Story if you're not super all 100% caught up, but it happened a while ago, so I'm gonna say it. But the Fatoui Harbinger number 8, Senora, she passed away. I mean, sorry, she was
Rip.
killed by Raiden Shogun by the Musono Hitachi, I think it's called, and she just perished as far as we know. And they're all gathering for the first time in a long time to mourn her death. And so we get a lot of really cool dialogue between the characters, big foreshadows to probably the next Archon quest, and a lot of their kind of just characters in general. So Kahi is going to lead the discussion today. He's very
Hmm.
interested in the backstory, so we're gonna try to have a little discussion about it with what little information we have. But it's
Hmm.
fun. I think a lot of people are really excited for them. A lot of these characters are supposed to be playable at some point. But
Hmm.
we do not know.
Nope.
We seriously have zero information on this, on that specifically. But without further ado, let's get started. Let's talk about the Fatoui Harbingers. So, Kahi, I will give the floor to you.
All right. So this is one of my favorite, if not the favorite, trailers from Genshin. As far as like revealing story, it's mainly because you introduce enough to be intrigued by. The less you know, the more you want to know. So we have our introductions of each of the Harbinger characters. And as after watching the trailer, of course, internet's blowing up. A lot of people are talking about it, and a lot of people making content. So, as I was doing research into these characters, a lot of what I'm going to bring up is based off of two main things. One is the original real life inspiration for the Harbingers, which I'm pretty sure not a lot of people know. The real life inspiration for them, and the in-game voice lines that Child or Tartaglia has to say about each of them. So we're just going to go one by one. We're just going to introduce each character in order of appearance, and then we're just going to talk about like first impressions or like a little bit of backstory, and we'll say like, hey, what do we think about this character? So before we get started, Josh, is there any one particular harbinger that you want to point out or highlight that's maybe your favorite or you want to see more of right away?
Yes. So
Which one?
immediately, I really like Arlecchino.
Yep, the internet's waifu, of course.
Yeah, I mean, she's like, come on, man. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm like a Yoimiya Yelan simp. Like, this is she's like my type of
The One
you know
sama.
anime waifu character girl. So, and she's like cold. You know what I mean? Like, she seems like she's kind of cold.
Very
With her
much so.
backstory, she might be like, we'll talk about. I guess you'll talk about later, but like I feel like she's probably really good at um putting on a nice face, and so like like when she needs to, but it's pretty interesting. So I just like her design so far, just and the way like she talked during the video, which is cool. So
Oh, you're gonna love what I found out about her. But yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit. So we're just gonna start from the very beginning. We'll talk one at a time, again in order of appearance in the trailer. And let's start off with the first of the Harbingers, the leader, rank 1, Piero. Now, Piero in the trailer was first seen playing chess with someone, but we don't see them. Probably because if you looked at the chess piece that moved without being touched, it was being controlled by cryo power. So either Piero is playing chess with the Tsaritsa, which is presumably the cryo archon. He's probably the only one that's ever gotten to interact with her on any level. So being the leader, he has, of course, a little bit more of a commanding presence, a little bit more of a deeper voice, or maybe more of a serious tone. His inspiration. Now, all of these characters have inspiration from a real life Italian performing group way back in the day. Way like you're talking about like pre like pre movie like film
The
performances. Now,
Renaissance.
yeah, Renaissance. I was looking for like what era? What era was I talking about? Yeah, that one. But the troupe is called the Commedia dell'arte. It's an Italian group, and every one of these harbingers. Keep in mind, every one of these harbingers' Italian names corresponds to a character from that troupe to the T, to the exact like personality and like physical appearance, inspirations. So Piero, in the original real life inspiration, is known as the Jester, and the Jester is actually seen as kind of like kind of like one of the leaders of the troupe. This inspiration, all of this information I got from this guy that I found on YouTube. His name is, his YouTube name is Marco Meatball. He's an actual opera singer, and somehow he got somehow he got wind of Genshin and started making reactions videos out of it and talking about music, talking about musical history, and he noticed this and he made a video on it. And I watched the video, and every character you pointed out was like spot on. So it's perfectly valid. I'll vouch for that. Just everything he brings up, totally believable. Even if even if he made it up, he did a good job. But anyways, Piero
We'll put a
being
link
the
in
leader.
the description. Yeah.
Yes, good video, really good. He is good. He's very articulate. Now his inspiration, because he's the jester, even though he's the leader, the real life character is a little bit gullible, which means he's easily manipulated, easily controlled. If this particular character, Piero in Genshin, follows that inspiration, it's quite possible that Tsaritsa is manipulating him. So there's probably going to be interesting backstory, interesting character dynamic between, him and the Tsaritsa. But Josh, what was your first impression when you saw Piero? Do you have any thoughts on that?
So I mean, this is the guy who like at the end was speaking, right? And at the beginning, I guess.
Mainly at the
When they
beginning.
all met up, mainly at the beginning. But wasn't he
Yeah.
the one talking at the end when they all
Nope.
gathered up?
There's another guy. You're gonna love who that is.
Okay, great. Okay, so
Mm.
this guy, just looking at his picture, I was about to say he's the guy with the half mask, right?
Yes, the one at
um,
the very beginning. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know, like he just seems like I don't know, like the boss. He just has like the boss vibe. So I mean, he seems like rank 1. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it seems very serious. Very commanding tone presence. Um, so next character in appearance is, I think, next to Arlecchino. This is probably everyone's next favorite because she is on the thumbnail of the video. After all, it's Colombina, also known as Damselette. She is rank 3 of all the Harbingers. Now that was a surprise to me because she's rank 3 because Tartaglia has no idea why she's rank 3. She has no idea. He has no idea what her powers are. But something about her kind of creeps him out, and that says a lot when you have a character who looks like this, very kind of frail looking girl, like very like light mass, but had like dove feathers on the back. It's you don't know if she's really really scary or she's just there because of some other, I don't know, political reason. But here's something about Colombina from her real life inspiration. Colombina in Italian means little dove, which kind of makes sense because she has little dove feathers on the back of her head. Might also explain maybe like the bird-like singing voice, perhaps, because she's singing. It's either it sounds like a sad song that she's singing, but there's a lot of high notes in it too, and also she's smiling in the trailer. So she, you don't know if she's crazy or insane or if she's actually happy that this happened and she knows something that no one else knows. Um, but because her name's Columbina, what I think is she's probably gonna have like maybe a little bit of a flight or a floating mechanic, kind of like how, Kokomi kind of floats around too, even though she's on land. She has like a lot of affinity for water and aquatic creatures. Maybe Damselet or Columbina might be the land version or the sky version, whichever one you want to call it. But yeah, Josh, what's your first impression when you saw Columbina? Anything that stood out to you?
I mean, she was it. They make it like she's singing the song, right, in the trailer.
Hmm.
So, uh, I mean, at first I just thought, wow, she has a nice singing voice, and then,
Yep.
um,
Very
yeah, I mean,
clean.
she's like kind of like leaning against the coffin and doing a bunch of stuff, but like they're singing, laying down, not actually not. She's not doing anything, but
Really.
yeah, but
um,
basically, but so basically, like, just for reference to those listening, like, child. Sorry, my dog is like going crazy in the background. Um, so what child says in his profile about like all these people, right? So when he's talking about her, um, oh wait, sorry. For those of you that are listening that don't know, if you go into the character menu, for any character and go to their profile, you can see what they have to say about a lot of different characters. And Child, being the only member of the Fatoui Harbingers that is playable right now, has little snippets that he says about each person. So his snippet about Damselet, which is her Columbina, um, when he says, "I have no idea why that girl's number three. I test my skills with everybody above me if I had the chance, but when it comes to her, something just doesn't feel right. Anyway, you should be careful around her." Like that, it's it does. Like after seeing her in the video and then reading that, it's just like, oh, she's really creepy. Like, oh,
Kinda,
she's
yeah.
like, yeah, she's scary. Like people
Mhm.
are scared of her. You know what I mean? So like,
Yep.
I just thought that it was interesting that my kind of perspective of her changed after I read that thing from Child,
Hmm.
rather than just watching her in the video and just watching her singing and just chilling there. So I mean,
Yep.
she didn't really say anything, right? Like during the whole video, she
No,
was just
no lines at
singing.
all.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that was my impression.
Okay. Now, next in the lineup in order of appearance is Pulcinella. He is the people call him the penguin. He kind of does look like the penguin a little bit, but he's technically the rooster or the mayor of a certain city. I mean, either the city of Shniznaya or something else, but he is a very manipulative mayor and is also known to care for child's siblings. He was known to bring them, toys and food and promised child to take care of them. Now, in the inspiration for um, this character again is known to be just highly, highly manipulative. So this person's just kind of causing trouble here and there. So they're smart, but they're kind of always doing things to just get their own benefit. But they for this mayor, this kind of character doesn't really stand out to a lot of people who are like playing Genshin Impact. This character probably looks like the most uninteresting. But as far as like, pushing the story forward, I'm pretty sure this character is probably like front facing in charge while everyone else is kind of like the hidden organization, but they think Pulcinella might be in charge. So he probably likes that. Again, this is all speculation, but we know he's a mayor. We know his original character inspiration is highly manipulative, and we also know that he cares for child's siblings. Now, that could kind of all tie together. Maybe he's keeping tabs on child. Maybe he's trying to use his, connection to his siblings as like a way to tell child, don't mess with me. But I mean, anything stood out to you about this character? Because I mean, I don't really like this character all that much. But what about you, Josh? Your first impressions?
I mean, just looking at him, his profile doesn't fit any other character models that are in the game, so I don't think he's gonna be playable. Like,
Oh,
I guess I
I
could
hope
say
not.
that. Yeah, so I
Uh,
mean, yeah, he looks very much like the Penguin from Batman. So kind of gives you like that character. I don't know if Penguin invented that vibe or if like that's a real thing, but he looks like the um he really likes money and secrets and is like a bad guy actually, even though he acts like a good guy sometimes maybe like he either reminds me of that, even though like Child says he's been nice to his family, that does seem like he has ulterior motives. But the other character he actually reminds me of with just the long nose, I don't know if it has anything to do with anything, but is like Igor from Persona, like the guy who like hosts the Velvet Room, where the main
I've
character
never
always
played that.
goes. Okay, okay. So he looks kind of like him. Like he has like the long nose and like the circular, like round head. He's like short and older. And but that guy's super nice in Persona. So that's why I don't get like it's weird. Like I have a mixed vibe from this guy. So definitely
Hmm.
doesn't seem playable, but you know what how he plays in the story. We're probably gonna see him a lot when we go to Snezhnaya, I assume. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, well, you assume he's like the wealthiest, but however, we have Pantalone, which is the banker and the supplier or the financier of the entire Harbingers. He's the most wealthiest banker in Snezhnaya, and apparently people are saying he's the hottest character in the game. What do you think? Do you agree or not?
I mean, he looks a lot like Baiju. Like he
Does
he looks exactly like
side by
Baiju,
side.
actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, again, makes me think he's gonna be playable. But I mean, I think he just looks like that, ikemen guy, like the guy that is like that gets a lot of girls' attentions, but like maybe isn't necessarily interested in them. So but I mean he looks like money would be his best friend after the way a child talks about him, saying like, he funds everything. So my impression of him is like he's probably really badass. Like like
I hope. Yeah.
I think he has like uh he has this like really really calming demeanor about him, like like, oh, whatever, and business oriented, but then when he fights, he probably goes crazy. Like he probably just becomes literally like the opposite character for some reason. I don't know. Just
He'll
maybe
open
that's
his
my guess.
eyes. That's
Oh
how he
yeah,
gets
that's right. Yeah,
serious.
that's right. That's right. Seriously, he opens his eyes. There's so many characters like that. I love it.
Uh, I mean, it's good because it's like you have a mask. The moment you take your mask off, it's serious. Or you like Ash Ketchum, you turn your head around, it's serious. I mean, it's a simple trick, simple mechanic, but quite effective. But I mean, Pulcinella and Pantalone actually have a bit of an interaction going because the mayor, Pulcinella, wants the whole, uh, I guess, country to stop working for half a day. But then Pantalone says, "Wow, half a day? That doesn't seem conscionable." So Pulcinella, for him to suggest only half a day's, rest of work, he he probably knows that we can't spend the whole day not working, and it's not that bad. So I want you to still work. So Pantalone probably knows that we do need a little bit more money, but he's probably a little bit more humane than other people think, even though he's the most richest and wealthiest. We don't know how he got his wealth, but maybe he got it by doing good deeds. Maybe he's just that smart. I mean, he is regarded as very, theoretical and like has a lot of ambition. I mean, Child himself says that he doesn't understand half the things that he's talking about sometimes, but he's smart, but he probably have his own plans to like just kind of secure his money. He could, because he's funding the Harbingers, I feel like he could probably be fine on his own, but he's benefiting from something by being here. And if he pulls out, he probably knows that he has enough leverage to like have his say in what they do. It's just at the time, at the moment, their I guess their ambitions kind of line up. So he'd probably fine on his own. Next, I mean, here's a character you're gonna love. Arlecchino. So it's your favorite, internet's favorite right now. So here's a fun fact. She runs an orphanage. So when she had that voice line in the trailer, when she says, "So why don't you keep your mouth shut? I don't want to make the children cry." The moment she said that, I'm like, "Oh, you probably have siblings, or you probably have like kids." And then I found out that she runs an orphanage. So she's like the strongest tsundere character in the game so far because she has the soft
Yeah.
spot for kids, but acts like a total, total B. What do you think? Does your opinion change about her now, or same?
No, no, like I knew about the orphanage thing because I think they actually mentioned it in like a different side quest or something, a couple patches ago. And I mean, of course, I didn't remember that, but the YouTube video I watched earlier, they were talking about connecting this to that, like connecting her to that because that's the first time she's ever been mentioned in the in-game lore. So yeah, I mean, like it just seems like I mean, child says he doesn't trust her, um, and that she's like he says that look, I've got nothing against people who have their own agendas. I myself joined the Fatui to get more experience in combat, but I don't like her at all. If she stood to benefit from betraying others, she'd turn against the Saritsa in a heartbeat. There isn't a sane bone in her body. I have a feeling she's gonna be one of those characters. Like if she runs an orphanage for like a good reason, like she actually says that she wants to help these kids, then maybe she's like kind of like obsessive about the orphanage, and maybe she's obsessive about protecting them, so she doesn't care who she betrays to get to her goal. But if she's running the orphanage for like a not moral reason, then maybe she could be just a really bad character, like a bad guy character. But assumably, most of these characters are going to have points to empathize with, or to sympathize with. So I hope she's a cool, nice character. Like I'm more about like the nice characters. So like it is what it is. But I just really like her design. Like I really like the way she looks, and she seems like she's you know not afraid to say what she thinks or what she stand up for what she cares about. So and she was I think she was standing up for Senora when she was talking. So yeah, I'm just really interested to see where her story goes and when we will actually meet her, whether it's going to be in Fontaine or if it's going to be in Sumeru or if it's going to be all the way in Snezhnaya.
You think she's gonna have like a personality change when she meets the young looking traveler? And
Yeah,
she's
like
like,
I
"Oh,
think
who's this
like
child?"
yeah, I think well maybe when she meets Paimon, like I think she's
Oh
like
my god! I
really
just realized. Yes.
like I said, like I think she's gonna be a very oh maybe she'll meet Klee. Like maybe the story will have to do with Klee. Like I just think that
Oh
the
my god! Yes.
like that she'll be the kind of character who has that
Mhm.
like multiple personality sort of like turns on a dime kind of like persona because if she like to be part I don't know it's weird because like being part of the Fatui Harbingers whatever like Child is right but we got to know Child's backstory and we know why Child joined so like it's easy to sympathize with Child even though he's constantly technically a bad guy and we fought him at one point and all this
Yep.
stuff he's like you guys are chill now and you know what I mean and so what about her like what's gonna happen to her like if she becomes like a playable character like I'm really curious to see like how that plays out because I think it's hard to just say because of Child specifically it's hard to say oh all the Fatui Harbingers are just bad guys so I'm really curious to see how they have us empathize with this character.
I cannot wait to meet her in game. All right, now we have. Now this is a tricky one. So we have Marionette slash Sandrone. So Sandrone in the original real life inspiration. I'll get back to Arlecchino in just a second, but Marionette slash Sandrone is obviously people can see like that giant machine Hulk kind of like carrying her like in one hand. The funny thing is, in the real life inspiration, Sandrone and this lady, well, Sandrone is the father of a daughter and has a wife. And these characters are portrayed in the Italian play as puppets. All of them are puppets. So it's perfect match. Like we have this character who is controlling big puppets. Sandrone either is the name of the puppet and Marionette is the name of the girl, and then maybe there's like another puppet that you're gonna summon later on. But that's a pretty good like callback to the original inspiration. It fits so well. So they did the character really well. She's an avid researcher, very very smart. Obviously, made those those little constructs. But she frequently has a what is it called, a like a murder face on when talking with Tartaglia. I don't know if she treats everyone like that, but what is your impression of this character? Because I'm mixed. I think she's fine, but if she has like murder face on at times, I don't know if she's nice or just, just kind of like the serious type that just wants to get everything done with. Like, what do you think?
Well, I mean, we didn't really know. She doesn't talk, right? Does she talk once? I think she talks
She has
once.
like one. She says something along the lines of, I don't know. She just finds it dull because she closes her eyes when she like makes that exclamation or that statement.
Right,
So she's probably unamused by it, but she probably wants to get back to her research, which is why she says very little and just stops.
right.
I don't know. I
I
don't know
mean,
what to make of this character.
Cloud, not Cloud, Child says she always seems engrossed in her research. I wonder if those machines have anything to do with her. Anyway, I've only met her a few times, but every time she looked like she wanted to murder me. I have no idea what I could possibly have done to annoy her, though. And I feel like the like there is probably some big secret or some big story plot there, like that we just have no idea what it is. Like, I have no idea what I possibly could have done to annoy her. Like that is just like that. First of all, that implies that maybe he did do something to annoy her that he didn't, that maybe he doesn't know, but maybe she has some kind of motive or goal that involves child that she isn't able to do because of him for some reason. So I don't know. I'm really curious to see like what their relationship is going to be if we see that play out on screen. And I'm really
Do you
curious if like,
go ahead?
oh no, I'm just really curious if like Child will renounce being a harbinger at some point, because he feels, I feel like from just meeting these characters, I mean, we just met them, but he seems like the one that is most likely to be able to do that. Like just because we've really seen that like he's not there for like a lot of the reasons the other characters seem to be there for. So it'll be really interesting to see. Do I think what? What are you saying?
Do you think she's mad at him because of something with that? Because you remember Child's story? Like he has his like cover story is like a toy business, and he went to like that literal actual toy factory that makes like ruin guards or something. Do you think that has anything to do with it? Like he
I
actually
mean,
does.
like with what
He
little
broke something, maybe.
information we know,
Mm,
that I guess that's like the only thing we could
mm,
even assume.
Probably.
But
I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
like yeah, I'm curious if that'll even ever come back up in any sort of capacity. Like I feel like that was like a one-off thing. Like in this region, that was what he was known to do because that was the best cover for him. But maybe he
Mm.
doesn't do that anywhere else. You know what I mean?
Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, moving on. We have okay. Now this guy, he's cool, but not that cool. He is known as Capitano. Now this person, in the original inspiration, for this one in the that Italian troupe, Capitano was like kind of a, I guess, kind of boastful veteran warmonger soldier, very decorated in battle. So he was, he could fight. Everyone kind of acknowledges it. Everyone knows he's a good fighter. Even Child is amazed by his fighting skill. What I like about this character, he matches visually. He just looks like he's important. He's not too menacing. Doesn't have enough information to say that he's like manipulative at all. He doesn't look like he's hiding from anything. He does have like an empty mask, however. You do not see in the mask. So that's his best feature, that you don't know if he's human or not. He could be like a construct. He could be like another marionette or something. But so Capitano is the established great fighter. I don't think he's going to be a playable character. He probably would be a really good boss fight, but what would be something that you want to see from this character? If you could pick something that you could like install into this character and says this is what they're gonna do, like what would you want this character, or what would you want from this character?
Like he said, so like Child is really impressed by him, right? Like by his fighting skill, which is like kind of a big deal because Child is pretty confident in his own fighting abilities. And he said like maybe I'm ranked too low for him to notice me right now. Like maybe he may not recognize my strengths yet, but one day I'll show him what I'm made of. Like he really thinks this guy's like way above him level wise in the battlefield. And so I mean for me, like I would like just looking at this guy, I'd probably like to see him have like a giant weapon of some sort, probably like a giant sword or like a cross or something like just
Oh
something
wow,
really
that would look cool.
gigantic. Yeah, and like just
That'd be great.
like if he's really strong, I kind of look at him and think because he's so bulky that his strength comes from brute strength and not so much from agility like child. So yeah, I wonder how that'll be.
Oh yeah, you know what? He might actually have armor under there because if his head kind of looks like that, because maybe he's just in a big armor suit and he just has this coat over it for, I don't know, ceremonial purposes. That could be good. I can see him with like a big cross or like a big sword or something. That'd be nice. Okay, now this last guy. Now this is probably the most interesting character. Dottore. Now Dottore, his design is inspired by a raven or a crow. And of course, highly intelligent because ravens and crows are very intelligent birds, and the mask is kind of like a pointed beak. A lot of them kind of have a very similar, you know, design, but this one in particular hides his face. Very smart. He's the doctor. Now he has a clone in this trailer. Now he appears here with the Harbingers, but towards the end of the video, we see his character model again, but he's referred to as someone else. Now he was someone that took parts of himself at different ages and made clones of himself. So what I imagine is that other young, I guess, female voice that's talking to him says, "You're looking very young today, doctor." And then he says, "You know full well that I do not take that as a compliment." That implies that looking young means that I don't want to look young because that would imply I'm younger than all the other clones, which means I'm not the original because there's one that's older. The oldest one has to be the one that is real. So like the further away you look from old, you're like, you're not the real one. I could kind of see how a clone can be offended by that. Um, but what's interesting about this character is that if this person is the smartest one and has clones and is the only one that got an extra segment after the meeting, they probably are going to be more of a threat than anyone else. And what really is kind of like sticking in my mind is the fact that he said the clone is doing an experiment in blasphemy. You remember that part in the trailer? Uh,
Yeah. He said
The
like
experiment?
the prime subject or the one in the one in his
Mm,
prime. Yeah.
yeah. Um, experiment in blasphemy. So at the very beginning, Piero said that we will seize authority from the gods. Now the word blasphemy, let me just look hard, like a hard definition here. So blasphemy, of course, is used in a lot of religious connotation. It's the act or offense of speaking sacrilegiously about God or sacred things, or like profane talk. If the experiment in blasphemy, the moment they said that, and then you see a burning tree, the blasphemy is that somehow that action is blasphemous or very insulting to the gods. I feel like they're trying to get the attention of the gods that left Tevat. And if this does trigger it, and they, somehow get the gods back, they're trying to lure them out. Why? We don't know. But the fact that he called it the experiment in blasphemy means it has something to do with their gods, and they're trying to seize authority from them, which means they're trying to get their attention somehow for something. They're luring them out, or they want to challenge them, or they're trying to like trap them or something. There's a big scheme going on, but we know they actually have a pretty pretty hefty ambition of trying to go up against literal gods. So like I don't know enough about the lore to because we have the archons, and the archons are kind of like one step under god level. Are there isn't technically Rex Lapis a god, or am I wrong? Like
Yeah.
Zhongli. Is
I
he one?
mean, all of the archons technically ascended to godhood to become archons.
So the oh wait, so the archons are the gods, or are they just like servants of gods? Because I'm not too sure where the hierarchy is. Okay, because this is me just trying to learn more about the lore as well. But um, we only saw like Dottore in the little cathedral, and then we saw the other Dottore in front of the tree. We don't know how many clones he has. So the other part that's like really like menacing about this character is if you kill him, did you actually kill him? How many more are there out there? Is he just constantly cloning himself? Like this is a character that you don't know if he's dead, even if you actually kill him. So this brings up a question I want to ask. I mean, just just like go crazy with this. Like, which one of these characters do you either think is going to die first, or do you want to die first? Because I have a theory, but like, which of these characters do you think, if it's kind of implied that one of them has to go down, if Senora is already out of the picture,
Mm.
if someone else is going to die, who do you think is going to die? Just for whatever reason.
Die first?
Yeah.
Um, hmm. Die first could be. Man, if any of these characters are gonna die, it's probably not gonna be a playable one. So, I
Hope
mean,
not.
like it could
Please
be,
no.
it could be Pulcinella,
I hope.
but
I
I don't know
I
about
actually do.
first. But I feel
Hmm.
like Piero, like the
Ooh,
leader,
okay.
will die because I think the other people will
Okay.
try to fight for his rank.
Okay.
That's what I
Oh, that
think.
makes sense. Yeah, because
Yeah, I
if
don't
they
know
all
how
have their own
significant he
agenda.
is
Mhm.
exactly. So yeah, I don't know.
That
Who knows?
interesting guess. Okay. I want Pulcinella to die first, just so that we don't have to keep seeing his face. I mean, he's not the best looking character. I'm sorry. I don't
Okay.
like him. Call me
It's
prejudiced,
okay.
whatever you
This
want.
this
That's
is
fine.
this is a opinions podcast. No problem. It's fine.
Okay. Um, the person that I think is going to die first, Dottore. The reason why I think Dottore is going to die first, if he is presumed dead, it gives him more freedom to move around, which means he can hide easier, even to the other Harbingers. If he stages his death in a certain way that even the other Harbingers think he's dead, he gets that much more freedom to move around. If he gets all the information he needs about, you know, the experiment in blasphemy and from even the Tsaritsa, he could probably he's probably gonna die first, even though he's technically not gonna die first. So you kind of see what I'm saying, right? Like he's gonna just do his own thing, get what he needs, but still be alive. But everyone thinks he's dead because that's kind of a good plan. Just utilizing a clone, stage your death, and now you can be someone else. That's
I
like
mean, and when I think about it, it's like I honestly though think that if anybody, I think any of the harbingers, like from the way Child talks about him too, um, if any of them found out that the Torre died, I don't think they would believe it. I don't think anybody would believe that he's actually
mm,
dead. So like I
you have
think
a
that if
point.
he even if he died, like I think it wouldn't really work. Like I think that if that was his plan, it wouldn't work because his the other harbingers don't believe that he would be dead. So he wouldn't be able to necessarily move any easier or anything like that. Like unless he has
Yeah, you
some
have a
plan
point.
to overthrow the Saritsa for some reason. Like if he has that kind of plan and maybe like he stages it really well, like all of his clones died at the same time because of some reason. But like, if you ever heard, oh, he died, it's be like, oh, okay, well, there's probably another one somewhere. So, like,
Yeah, pretty
you
much.
know,
Okay.
but it doesn't matter. This whole conversation doesn't matter because the first one to die is Senora. So,
Yep, she already took that crown. Hmm.
yeah. Oh, sad.
Um. Oh, I mean, of course we know Scaramouche is out there. He wasn't in the trailer, but they talk about him. He has the electronosis, but yeah, we don't know what his plan is either. But of all
Yeah.
these harbingers right now,
Mm-hmm.
from what you've seen, from what you know now, who do
Mm-hmm.
you think is the strongest, regardless of their rank? Who do you think is the strongest, or who you hoped to be the strongest?
I mean, I assume that Colombina is like the strongest for some reason.
Him, yeah,
Like for
exactly.
some reason we don't know. Like why would Child be like put off by her. Like that's like a like
Mhm.
child is freaking crazy, right? So like the fact that she scares him that way, I think is probably a bad sign for like, like it means like she's probably even if she's not strong in the traditional sense, like overwhelming physical strength or like, ability strength, maybe she has like a power that's really hard to fight. So, who knows? But like, just it seems to imply, especially because she doesn't talk. She's like singing the whole time, and this whole thing. She's super creepy. I feel like she'd just be probably one of the harder fights for the traveler.
Yeah, I honestly, yeah, I same thing. I think she's the strongest. I think she's someone's ace in the hole because she's
Hmm.
just being there. She's being held in high esteem. She's close to the top, so she has like the most security. I'm assuming if they have security guards or whatever, but like she's closer to the top lead person because they need the like rank number one, which is Piero. I don't know who's rank two, but like those top two know she needs to be number three. So I think I it might be sound related. It might be either like manipulated effect powers or like sound song related because she's singing on a grave happy. And it's like if it's a creepy power, you could make music a very creepy power, but like where does Scaramouche rank? Do you know much about Scaramouche?
I mean, not really. I mean, we know that he is a what is the word for the clone that they use? He is a prosthesis. He's like a
Asus, right? Yeah.
prosthesis
Yeah.
of A, right? So like I just feel like he's probably really strong if that's the case. Like we don't really see him. Supposedly there's a boss battle. Like it's like some rumors that like he'll have a boss battle eventually, or something. He looks like a playable character at some point, but like I feel like he could be the strongest. Uh, like maybe like ability physical wise, just because of his source of creation is really powerful. So that could be involved there. The other thing is like, Scaramouche, like you just said, like we don't know, like he has the electronosis and stuff, but like you didn't mention, like can you remind me like the balladeer, like his role, like Scaramouche's role in the opera? Do you remember what it was?
So I didn't read his role because the video that I was watching only talked about the new harbingers that showed up. So I'm sure that same guy, that Marco Meatball, I'm sure he talks about Scaramouche in a different video, but I was just fascinated by the one with all the intros to the other guys.
Oh,
The balladeer, I
because
don't know
I think he
specifically.
actually he mentioned it for like a second. That's why I was like asking, because he mentioned that Scaramouche is sort of like the jester who like talks to the audience. Like Scaramouche is sort of a ridiculous character that like manipulates the audience at the same time as manipulating the characters in the thing. Isn't that what he said?
Wait, okay, I don't know for sure, but if he said that, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Scaramouche kind of the one who has the theory of this world isn't real? Like the sky
Oh, that's
isn't
right.
real.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So that's why I think he's
Oh my
manipulating the
god.
audience. Yeah.
Oh, so he knows how to break the fourth. He knows how to break the wall. He
Right.
knows how to
That
break the
was the
wall of
thing.
reality. Oh my god.
That's right.
That makes sense. Okay. He might actually
Yeah.
be the most powerful because he knows the like the origin of the world essentially. So with
Yeah.
that,
Like
he knows he's doing his own thing.
So, so there was like just like a second. Oh man, I hope this doesn't
Oh,
come.
I
Give me a
gotta
second.
find
Let
that.
me here
Mm.
here. Oh, he talks about it. There's like the whole. There's a whole 5 minute segment in the video where he talks about skirmish. Hold on.
Why did I just skip that entirely? Probably. I'm just so
Yeah, super able
uninterested
to
in Scaramouche.
manipulate people around him and is technically manipulating the audience.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's pretty
Okay.
interesting. Yeah,
Ooh.
so I think Scaramouche is going to be like, even though he didn't show up here, I think he's going to be the most influential in the events of the Harbinger's plans, because right now he's missing. He has a one thing
Hmm.
that they need, and he has a really
Leverage.
powerful background. Like I don't know how much the other harbingers know about his background, but like Child won't even talk about it. He's like in Child's thing, he just says after he took the gnosis, we lost contact with him. Now we have to try to
Hmm.
get it back, and I don't mind because it means I can travel. That's it. Like he doesn't talk about him at all, actually.
Nope.
So maybe they don't know anything about him. So I'm really curious how he's going to play into this group because we don't see how he interacts. Like we don't see like his dynamic with the other characters and the other harbingers. So I'm really excited to see Scaramouche.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Oh, by the way, Scaramouche is rank 6 of all
Oh,
the
that's right.
harbingers.
They did announce that. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so if Columbina is a whole 3 ranks above Scara, I think
Yeah.
once we figure out who number 2 is, I'm sure someone probably pieced it together and figured it out. But if we know who rank 2 is, we could probably formulate like a better theory of why Columbina has to be the third. Because it's either Piero and Dottore because they know the plan, so they have to be close because they need to make sure the plan goes well. And then Columbina is like the insurance, and then everyone else is just there to help them out because they all have their own agendas. But then some smaller group of these harbingers has to know the bigger picture, and everyone's just along for the ride. They just want to be there and be at the top of the food chain. So rank 2, I gotta find out who that is, and I'll probably have more to talk next time. But man, I love this
Yeah.
trailer. It's just so much,
It's
so much
so good.
speculation,
And
but so
and
much
and you
information. Yeah,
and what's so cool. Well, the thing is like we had zero information on like all these
and
people.
exactly.
And so like then they give us this trailer and they give us so much and it fills in context for things we didn't really know before like you could read child stuff about all the harbingers before but like you didn't really have a face like to the name, you didn't have any context as to like what kind of character they seem to be, but now that we've seen most of them talk in some capacity with the other ones, at like specifically in the situation of gathering for Signora's death, like like when you were gathering for a death, like a funeral, basically, then doesn't that say like how you act at that moment? Doesn't that say a lot about your character, right? Like so, like that's why like
Hmm.
the guy was like, oh, we only have to stop working for half a day, and the other guy's like, oh, I think that's a little inhumane of you to not like let us at least have a full day off or whatever. Like, these kind of interactions that happen, um, kind of
Love it.
give us so much information, even though it's so little. It's just because it's so
Hmm.
new to us. So yeah, well, I mean,
It
it's
forces
just
the audience to interact and
this is
like
cool
guess and
because
think.
what's cool about this trailer is that it's the first trailer since the like story trailer from before the game came out that like really previews way ahead. Like we are not going to
Oh
see
yeah.
a lot of these people for a
Mhm.
long time.
I want to
And
say a year.
no, more than that, like I don't think like at the rate Genshin's going, like I don't think we're going to even see Sneznaya for another 3 years. So
Really?
like yeah, because we only get well the game's been out 2 years, right? We've only gotten one new place.
Hmm.
Like we only got one new area, like one new region, and then we got like
Inazuma.
regions
Oh well,
within
yeah, you're right. You're
regions,
right. Yeah,
right?
because like
So and
Leeway
it
and
took
Mondstadt were one technically.
right, and Dragonspine's technically Mondstadt, and Chasm's technically Liyue, and Konomiya is technically Inazuma. So they have ways they can flesh out each of these areas, which is good. They should definitely do that. Like I'm not
Yes.
saying release all of the areas of Teyvat right away, but it's just how is the game going to change? Like what are we going to find out more about these people? Like as time goes on, like we still have tons of content, tons of story ahead of us, and they obviously put a lot of thought and a lot of care into these characters and the way they're represented. Like the Chinese opera, like Yunjin, like the way that the Japanese are represented, which is really cool. um, oh, that's right. I wanted to share that. Like how you're bringing this up because of the video you saw about the opera singer who's reacting, and he's saying like the characters of the Harbingers are related to like a real acting troupe in
Yep.
Italy from like a long time ago,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
So it's like he was saying in the video that he's super really glad to see this because it's like it's part of his culture, like his Italian heritage, but
Oh man,
shown
that's
in a
great.
modern twist, right? and
Right.
like so people can learn about the history through this modern content. And I think
It's
that
fun.
maybe people don't know about it as much, but I studied Japanese in college, and a lot of people probably don't know about this now, but Japan for a long time closed itself off to the rest of the world. Like they weren't letting visitors in except for a very, very small amount of travelers from Europe. And they basically closed off the country and developed their country, their culture, which is how we got to the Japan we see today. It's not very mixed. It's very homogenous as a culture. And in Inazuma, it didn't happen exactly the same way, but because of the Vision Hunt decree and everything that was going on, Inazuma, which is very obviously based on Japan, they also closed their country off to travelers, and only very few people could come in or out. And it's really cool because like, you see that in Genshin and you're like, oh, Inazuma is kind of like Japan and they did this thing that Japan did in real life. Like you could go look that up and you can go find out the history or like the inspiration for why Inazuma did that because you can go look up the real country. So I thought it was really cool and I really liked this kind of conversation.
And you just gave me another idea. I mean, yeah, art imitates life, life imitates art, but you know, if they're going to go that far, thinking back to like Mondstadt and Snezhnaya, the same, European vibe going on, and if Mondstadt has that much maybe similarities to what's going on in Snezhnaya, you think maybe like way back in the day you had like a little group kind of break away from Snezhnaya, like founded the City of Freedom, Mondstadt, the nickname.
I
Yeah,
mean,
maybe.
Mondstadt is
Who
like
knows?
based on Germany, like specifically.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
Like the word, even the word like stat, like when I went to Germany like 2 months ago and there was like
Oh, really?
Karlstadt and this stat and this stat. It means like state, like a city.
Mm,
So like
okay.
Mondstadt is like the city of Mon, like basically.
Oh.
Um and and so like it's German. And then Snezhnaya
Ah.
is Russian because Tsaritsa is the name of like a female ruler in Russian.
Oh.
So like they're
Oh,
very
okay. That makes
clearly
sense.
panned out, like decided like where the influences come from for
Hmm.
Mondstadt, Liyue, Inazuma, and Snezhnaya. But Sumeru so far, like from what we heard, is like supposedly going to be a mix of cultures. That's why it's not going to follow like any
Mm,
one culture. But
like a
like supposedly
mesh.
Fontaine is just like straight up France. So
Oh,
um
that's gonna be great.
yeah, so that's going to be exciting. So we'll see
I
like
love it.
where these things come from. But as
Hmm.
far as we know, like I think that those kind of influences are cool. I'm really curious to see how in 3.0 they reveal the history of Sumeru and like what what caused it, what are the people like, what's the culture like. I'm really curious to see how that turns out.
Oh, we have so much to look forward to, don't we?
Oh my god, I know. So let's keep doing
Uh,
podcasts.
there's a lot to talk about in the future as well. The future
Yeah, I
looks
mean
pretty bright.
we're not even talking like game content like
Hmm.
builds and weapons and stuff. We're talking about like lore. Like just we could just talk about the lore because it's
Oh, this is
so
great.
right. It's so rich. Like they've really fleshed out a lot of it. Like man, like one day I want to like talk about the Enkanomiya lore. Like I really like Enkanomiya and
I know
like
there's
under
more
Inazuma.
that I should discover. Yeah, there's more into that I kind of scrubbed the surface, and I probably should learn a little bit more about that. But yes, that was
Yeah.
like an area that should have been way more important, but then it
Yeah.
just was small,
It
had
it's
puzzles,
like
and you're done.
it's like optional. Like it's like it was optional. And they had a really cool event in Enkanomiya where they it was based around the lore of Enkanomiya. And like I don't think you can play that anymore because it was only like a limited time event. So, I think that I really appreciate the effort that they put into forming the lore for a lot of these areas. But I really wish there was a way still in game that we could go back and see this information instead of having to like go into YouTube videos and look up past events and stuff. Like I wish the encyclopedia was a little bit more robust. Let me see. Uh they have archive, right? Archive. And if I go here, geography, and then yeah, they have some. No, it's very. It's like one line based on some areas. So yeah, interesting. Yeah, I just feel
Oh, we'll
like
have content for
there's
days, months,
yeah,
years.
there's so much. I mean, we could always go
Mhm.
back to our research and share it with people. So,
Of course.
for those of you listening, like if anybody is interested in like a specific topic, maybe an event that has already passed, or maybe some aspect of the lore that you want us to talk about, feel free to send us some comments, some tweet us on Twitter, at Genshin Guys Pod, and maybe we can bring that up as one of our topics to come, right?
Alrighty.
So
I think that's right. That's about uh, the extent of our lore knowledge for the day. We don't want to burn our brains out just trying to theorize everything. We'll probably share some actual factual information about another topic in a future episode.
yeah, I mean, it's really cool to have this preview of way far from now. We can make all the guesses we want, and we can kind of just see how close we were later. But I'm really excited, and I hope we can keep enjoying Genshin until then. I don't think it's going anywhere, and I think it'll only get bigger, and I'm all for it. So with that being said, Kahi, thanks for leading the Fatoui Harbingers segment. We'll definitely have more lore talks in the future.
My
And
pleasure.
that wraps up the show for today, guys. Thanks for listening. Remember to leave us a comment and a review. If you leave a 5-star review in the form of a question, then we may answer it on the next episode of the podcast. Like I said, any suggestions you have for content you want to hear, you want us to do, let us know, and we will respond as soon as we can. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you're listening. Twitter, one more time, at Genshin Guys Pod. Everybody, thank you so much for listening, and may all of your wishes be granted.
Enjoy.